If you walk into Oppenheimer expecting to see tens of thousands of lives obliterated in an instant, then you're sorely mistaken. Christopher Nolan's newest movie leaves out one big element of the physicist's story, and for good reason. Even though Christopher Nolan's newest movie is called Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy's J. Robert Oppenheimer shares the spotlight in his own biographical drama. The film is just as much about the scientist and his world-changing work as it is about the atomic bomb itself, which he and his team tediously developed during the Second World War. Its existence looms largely over the entire story, but we only see it explode once, during the Trinity test, the US Army's first detonation of a nuclear weapon. That means that the two most famous nuclear explosions in history, the attacks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, are never shown on screen. Instead, the audience sees Oppenheimer as he finds out that his invention has become a destroyer of worlds.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
As Nolan revealed in a post-screening Q&A session, it's no oversight that moviegoers don't witness the bombing of the two cities in his biopic. Given that Oppenheimer is the film's main human subject, most of the story unfolds from his perspective, so the director didn't feel that it quite made sense to cover the bombing of Japan. As he put it, "We know so much more than he did at the time. He learned about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on the radio, the same as the rest of the world." Nolan added that his film is an interpretation of the real-life story of Oppenheimer, not a documentary or direct reenactment. In the spirit of keeping Oppenheimer firmly in that realm, the narrative presented is more about the man and his mind than his scientific endeavors. As the atomic bomb creeps closer and closer to its completion, Oppenheimer chronicles the internal struggles and anxiety of its lead character. Yes, he wants to use his scientific skills to create a weapon that could put a decisive end to the bloodshed of World War II. But at the same time, being the one responsible for such a destructive object is a horrific and guilt-spawning proposition. This is what Christopher Nolan really hones in on throughout the film, giving moviegoers a proper character study wrapped in a political drama. Nolan elaborated, "There's also a recurring motif that has a lot to do with him closing his eyes. To me, it's really about staying in his head." Thus, the film keeps audiences largely within Oppenheimer's mind, while subjectively recalling the development of the atomic bomb from his point of view. That's not to say that it would have been impossible for Nolan to use this framework to cover the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but instead he decided to keep the film more personal, exploring the psyche of Oppenheimer during such a pivotal point in time. All in all, it seems that Christopher Nolan did an excellent job of conveying J. Robert Oppenheimer's world perspective on screen. And not just because initial reactions to the movie on Twitter were largely pretty positive. Real physicists have come out to praise Nolan for his depiction of the man behind the atomic bomb and his concerns about his creation. For instance, physicist Carlo Rovelli urged folks to see Oppenheimer, touting the questions and moral quandaries it presents as some of its strongest elements. He stated, "The kind of questions that it raises are not just about the 40s and general issues about morality of science. These are burning questions today." Nolan also spoke on the subject, revealing that his time developing Oppenheimer changed his perspective on nuclear weaponry and our general attitudes toward it. He shared, "I realize our relationship to the role of nuclear weapons ebbs and flows due to the political situation, and it shouldn't because the threat is constant.